told you that there's physical proof that our ancestors were here centuries before Columbus, but they were also part of the ancient Hebrews? Check it out.
The presence of Black Native Americans in the Ohio River Valley. Their existence, their struggles, and their contributions have been obscured by centuries of erasure, but the evidence remains.
The Bat Creek Stone was found in a Native American burial mound in the 1880s. Some people think it's a hoax. They suspect the guy who found the stone faked its inscription to get in good with his boss at the Smithsonian. I'm not buying that. I think the stone may prove Jewish people made it to America before Columbus. This artifact could even be connected to the lost tribes of Israel. They're famous for vanishing without a trace in 722 BC. Some Cherokee people in Tennessee think they have a connection to the lost tribes. I've studied the Bat Creek Stone once, but now I'm back in Tennessee to examine it with the latest technology. If I can figure out how old the carvings are on the stone using 3D analysis, it would go a long way towards solving the lost tribes mystery. We've talked a lot about the inscription, but we haven't really talked about what it says. One of the top Semitic scholars in the world at that time has translated the inscription as "for the Judeans." The Judeans were a Jewish people who occupied a mountainous region called Judea, which today is Israel's West Bank and the northern Negev Desert. The region was named after the biblical tribe of Judah, one of the lost tribes of Israel. If the Bat Creek Stone really does bear the inscription "for the Judeans," it could be a significant clue that suggests the lost tribes came to America. I'm very comfortable that the Bat Creek Stone, all evidence here to me indicates that it looks to be a genuine artifact. But there are other artifacts that have been found in North America, pre-Columbian artifacts with Hebrew inscriptions on them. I've investigated Ohio's Decalogue Stone. It has a shortened version of the Ten Commandments on it, written in Paleo-Hebrew. Same story in Los Lunas, New Mexico, where there's a similar artifact, also called the Decalogue Stone, with the Ten Commandments on it. And in Arizona, more Hebrew, on the Tucson lead artifacts, a collection of authentic ritual objects pulled from the desert in 1924. I have to wonder if all these things are markers on a trail left by Hebrew people long ago. A while back, Hugh showed me another allegedly Hebrew artifact called the Decalogue Stone in Coshocton, Ohio.
What if I told you
Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash. This your Akim Azil back with another quick lesson. And pretty much this is just more or less more evidence, carnal evidence, for those that don't know, because you got these Israelite camps that profess that the only the so-called Negroes are consist of the 12 tribes of Israel, which is that's not true, man. And this is facts that Esau Edom found over here in what is now called the Americas, that the lost tribes, which consist of the northern kingdom, were over here in the Americas prior to pre-Columbus. That's when they split. After the Assyrian captivity, they came over here to the Americas, and that's where the northern tribe dwelled after the split. And these archaeological finds are proof, because this Edomite refers to what?
Tribes of Israel. They're famous for vanishing without a trace in 722 BC. Some Cherokee people in Tennessee think they have a connection to the lost tribes.
See, he says some Cherokee people believe they have some connection to the lost tribe, which is true. The so-called Native Americans, the so-called Mexicans, the natives in South America, Mexico, Central and South America, you know, they are, you know, the islands over there in you know, in the bordering islands over there, what you call the Virgin Islands and so on and so forth, man. You know, over there in Puerto Rico, you know, these are consist of the Northern Kingdom, which makes up the 10 tribe, the 10 tribes, you know. But yeah, man, these are facts that not just the so-called Negroes or the dark-skinned complexion, because we all had melanin in our skin. We all had different shades of melanin, man. You know, it just throughout the southern tribe we were predominantly more darker, but the northern tribe they was dark as well. They had different shades of melanin, you know. But yeah, these are our brothers, man. The so-called Native Americans, the so-called Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, you know, et cetera, et cetera. The Panamanians, you know, I can go on and on. But these are our brothers, and they consist of what is called the lost, the lost. How they word it? The 10 lost tribes of Israel, you know, something of that nature. But yeah, they got archaeological finds, Paleo-Hebrew hieroglyphs, or I think it's called hieroglyphs, or maybe called petroglyphs, you know. But nonetheless, yes, they also find customs, you know, with the Native Americans wearing the fringes, you know, on their traditional ceremonial garments. So yeah, you can obviously tell that, you know, it said the Spirit bear witness that we are the children of the Most High. But there are, what you want to say, tangible evidence too that gives even more proof that the Native Americans, you know, the so-called Mexicans, et cetera, those are our brothers, man. You know, it's just when the kingdom split, they went, after the Assyrian captivity, they went over here is what is now called the Americans, man. You know. So I'm ending off there. This just was a quick, you know, I didn't have any precepts or scriptures ready for this lesson, but I was just giving this this information right here. Play a little bit more.
I've studied the Back Creek Stone once, but now I'm back in Tennessee to examine it with the latest technology. If I can figure out how old the carvings are on the stone using 3D analysis, it would go a long way towards solving the Lost Tribes mystery. We've talked a lot about the inscription, but we haven't really talked about what it says. One of the top Semitic scholars in the world at that time has translated the inscription as "for the Judeans." The Judeans were a Jewish people who occupied a mountainous region called Judea, which today is Israel's West Bank and the northern Negev Desert. The region was named after the biblical tribe of Judah, one of the lost tribes of Israel. If the Back Creek Stone really does bear the inscription "for the Judeans," it could be a significant clue that suggests the lost tribes came to America. I'm very comfortable that the Back Creek Stone, all evidence here, to me, indicates that it looks to be a genuine artifact.
See, he said it looks to him to be a genuine artifact, you know, which we already know that that's true to the fact that the Northern Kingdom occupied these territories after the split. But this is more proof that, they got camps out here that try to profess that the Native Americans and the Mexicans and, so on and so forth are not part of Israel. But, I beg to differ. Evidence, proof, and we can tell through what the curses that we went through, that we're those people, man. But I'm going to end it off there, man. Hope the body was edified. Till next time, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakakwadash. Again, this is your Akim Majulazil. Salaki, this is your Akim Majulazil. Lord willing, I'll be back with another lesson. Till next time, Shalom, Barak Thumb, and the Baba Ball. Shalom.